I have a question to ask you, and we don't really get political on this show, but it is this thing that you hear about all the time that's happening in libraries where parents come marching in, and they think that something's a little woke in a book. They think that maybe Dog Man likes Bernie Sanders in one panel, and they're upset and they want the book banned from the library. Have you had to encounter any of that?
Oh, absolutely. I have an annual Pride display I put up, and there are always complaints about that, which is very funny to me because, our Pride collection is probably about 100 books out of 30,000 books I have in the children's room.
Mm-hmm.
But just that little batch seems to upset some people. And I think folks forget that if they don't like those books, they don't have to read them. They don't have to check them out.
Right.
But there's definitely other people in the community that those books are for.
Yep.
So, yeah, I've dealt with that a little bit. Luckily, our community is very supportive of the library, so it's never gotten further than complaints. But I do know other places that's just not the case. And I just feel so sorry for these library workers.
Oh, yeah. There's sometimes, I think it's such a noble profession. I think teaching is such a noble profession. I think librarians, people that choose to try and expand a child's horizons as a lifetime's occupation are really doing magical work. And then when they find, I always feel badly when suddenly they're caught up in some crazy conspiracy theory that these books are trying to, destroy minds or something, or they have a political agenda. And I think it can go way too far.
I agree. And I'm thrilled to hear that you've got our backs, Conan.
Oh, I don't.
Oh,
No.
no.
I mean, I the minute there's any trouble, I'll completely retreat. All
right.
And
I thought that juvie had toughened you up a little bit for the library.
Oh, no. Those scars healed a long time ago. No, I do like to think I have your backs. I really do. I think I think books are not the enemy, and we've got bigger problems. That's what I think. So
yeah, I agree. And that's why we're here as librarians, actually. If your family, if you're like, I'm not ready for these books, that's fine. I'm not going to try to convince you otherwise. We'll help you find what you need, and then we keep other stuff on the shelf to help other people find what they need.
I have such happy memories of the little tiny library. I went to a K through 3 school in Brookline, Mass, called the Baldwin School. And it had this tiny library, and I would go in there, and I can remember to this day some of the books I read in there. And some of them were kind of dark and a little spooky, but that made them so great. Yeah, there was one about 3 sort of highwaymen robbers that would rob in coaches, and it was so beautifully illustrated. And then and they had little blunderbuss muskets, and then at one point they find a baby and raise it. And I don't know, I just remember thinking, this is such a weird, dark story, but I love it. And
I totally get it.
And
Conan.
kids can handle it. Like they can handle the darker fairy tales.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, it's within the boundaries of a book. And so it's a way to sort of test the waters with darker material. Kids love that stuff. And I think, and they'll continue to love it into adulthood. I know I do.
The original Brothers Grimm stuff is very dark. Yeah.
Absolutely.
There's people being fattened up to be eaten,
Yep. There's mothers feeding fathers their own children. That happens in the Brothers Grimm and the Juniper Tree. Oh yeah,
I don't know that one.
Cannibalism in there.
Cannibalism?
Oh, that's an amazing fairy tale. Yeah, in the Juniper Tree. Oh, evil stepmother hates the little boy she's raising. She tricks her daughter into thinking she killed the boy, but the stepmother did it. She feeds the kid to dad. But then there's a whole redemptive cycle where the kid turns into a bird and sings about his murder, and he ends up dropping a millstone on the stepmother like you do.
You know what it is? It's an allegory for DNA evidence.
What?
Beyond the grave, the child screamed his innocence, and the father paid the price, or the mother.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what the Brothers Grimm had in mind, you think?
Yes, I think they foresaw that DNA evidence, even after the death, will incriminate the murderer.
Okay.
Yes, that's about DNA. My mind is shut to any other interpretation. Wow. And do you?
Oh yeah.
Do you read these books as well, or are there modern fairy tales that you're into? Are there modern interpretations of fairy tales that you like?
Oh yeah, fairy tales are probably my favorite genre. So I love it all. Although I tend to read the old stuff because I just really love those dark fairy tales. I like a fairy tale that's a little fucked up.
Yeah, all the books behind you seem to have tales in the title.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, I've got all of the greats up there, plus some more obscure stuff.
So you like a fucked up fairy
I really
tale?
love it all. I love a good fucked up fairy tale, Conan.
Do
And there
characters
so
in
many.
fucked up fairy tales ever just say to themselves, "Whoa, this is fucked up"?
They don't, and I think maybe if they did, they'd end up in much better situations. You got to get out of those situations. No, I mean there's fucked up versions of like some of our most popular fairy
so give me an
tales.
example. I want to hear these because I might want to read them. Yeah.
Okay, so of course everyone knows Cinderella, one of our most beloved fairy tales of all time.
Yep.
Well, there are some versions in East Asia where there's a whole second half of the Cinderella story. She has her magical helper friend, she meets her prince, but then the stepfamily wants revenge. So the stepmother murders Cinderella. Cinderella is murdered in her own story. Cinderella now starts to haunt the stepfamily from beyond the grave, like relentlessly. Like, I know what you did last summer. It's all bad for them. Eventually, she's resurrected, usually with like a magical item of some kind. And then she has her true revenge, where she boils her stepsister alive and feeds that to her stepmother, who dies from the shock.
Again and again and again. Cannibalism.
Yeah.
and redemption. And also, this is the format for, like John Wick. It's just, this happens, but then, you think it's over? It's not over. Shit just got real. I mean, this is what happens with The Empire Strikes Back. I'm trying to get Gourley into the conversation.
I'm in now. Now I understand.
But, you think this is over? No, The Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
It's so, yes, we see.
They land Imperial Walkers on Hoth.
I know, he just said the title of the movie with more conviction, as if he was like getting more into it, but it didn't seem like you were elaborating at all.
Hollow sale.
You were just like The Empire Strikes Back, where the Empire strikes back.
Yeah, that's my interpretation after a lot of thought about The Empire Strikes Back and having watched it many times. That's my interpretation of what happens and what it's really all about, which is the Empire striking back.
When people tell you who they are, believe them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I took a test once and they said, "What happens when the Empire Strikes Back?" And I said, "The Empire Strikes Back."
What happens in Return of the Jedi?
You're not wrong.
The Jedi return.
Oh, and A New Hope?
Oh, yeah, there really is a New Hope. And I took that test and I aced it. And I was accepted to Williams College.
What happens in The Phantom Menace?
Oh, man. That menace is phantoming. And he's a real phantom of a menace. Anyway, my point is, any story where someone boils someone else and makes someone eat that person, that's a good story.
Yeah.
It's a good story. It's ageless.
It's a good way to dispose of the body.
Oh, yeah. Incredible way to dispose of the body. Yes. No one ever thinks of that. They're like, what do I do with this body? I don't know. Looks to me to be 140 pounds of protein. Yum, 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 yum.
You got a feast.
Do you know what I mean? What do I do with all this protein in my bathtub? I don't know. You got a big refrigerator? I do. What's your point? You got a skillet? I've got lots of skillets. Later, this restaurant's amazing.
Oh, no.
I'm a murderer and I'm on the Atkins diet.
Yeah.
What do I do?
You look amazing, man. Thanks. You've lost so much weight, but it looks like you're getting a lot of protein.
Yeah.
And I don't see you with your friends anymore. But you seem to have all of their shoes.
Yeah, there's like a true crime element to fairy tales.
Yeah. All right, Liz, do you have a question for me? Because I think I've wasted your time enough with my foolishness, and I apologize.
I do have a question. Oh, so fairy tales are made up of like stock characters, right? Like your princess, your wise old crone, your whatever. And I wondered, if you landed in a fairy tale universe, what role do you think you would fulfill in that fairy tale?
I'm such a...
ogre.
Just Sona. Are my features really that distorted?
No, it's more about how you terrorize people.
Oh, I do not terrorize.
You're a large presence and you terrorize people.
It's not.
I've heard that you hang out at bridges and bully goats all the time.
I live under a bridge.
Gotten around.
I live under a bridge, but just because the savings are incredible. And it's not technically against the law.
That's a good point.
And then when people want to cross the bridge, I ask them questions 3. Which apparently, guess what? There's no... Yeah, I'd be a mischievous troll. I want to be someone who's asking questions 3 and has little... I'm an imp. I'm bothering...
Yeah, like a trickster.
A trickster, yes. And then if they don't answer my questions, they go flying off the bridge to their doom. And I live in a little hut in the woods, and people are freaked out by me, but I'm kind of funny, and I also have a profitable podcast. The podcast is
that
very
makes a lot
profitable.
of sense.
Yeah, because we do ads, and you see if you monetize the ads, then that's where the profit is. Then, of course, if you get enough other podcasts together, you can have a podcast company. Anyway, I'm getting off track a little bit. I live in
Troll. That would be the name of your podcast
Team
company.
Troll. Team Troll. Yeah, I would be one of these guys. Answer me these questions 3. In the morning, it walks with 4 legs. In the evening, it wears a German World War I helmet. Who be he? Don't ask for the answer because I don't have it.
None of them have an answer.
He has the body of a worm, but the face of Winston Churchill. 9 eggs a day he eats. Who be he?
Yeah,
these are really good. I'm naturally really good at these.
It's the thing, though, that there is no answer just so you can eat them.
No one gets off this fucking bridge. No one gets over the bridge. Right? He's a walnut who knew Eleanor Roosevelt, but never really met her.
Oh, that's Franklin.
Who be he? Damn it, you get to cross the bridge.
Hey, as long as no one calls him out, he can keep doing it.
Yeah. Oh, I'm going to do that on the way home when I get to the 405 freeway. I'm going to get out of my car, stop all traffic, and say, answer me these questions 3.
What if you did, though, on the news? Conan O'Brien was seen.
Traffic's backed up for 65 miles. No one can pass. Police say they can't get close, but Conan O'Brien is asking people questions 3. No one seems to be able to answer him, and he's beating them with sticks.
Oh my God.
He just got shot.
Yep, we just shot him from a helicopter. I'm shouting up at the helicopter.
That's what you get. You wanted
answer
to be
me
the
these
troll?
questions 3. A whirly-bird it be, but no wings do I see. Blam. Conan O'Brien was shot today.
The end.
And rightly so.
Beautiful fairy tale.
Liz, I think you got your answer. A mischievous troll who's shot by the LAPD from a helicopter on the 405 freeway.